Hi, welcome to Brain Doodles. I'm Kyle.
And I'm Beetle, and after playing way too many MMOs and making our own board game, we think we're qualified to review them.
Exactly.
Let's get creating.
All right, so obviously we're talking about MMOs today. Main thing we're talking about here is why MMOs are so messy. We got a lot of stuff to get to.
Yeah, indeed.
Personally, to me, the biggest thing about MMOs being messy, I can speak, I swear, is that they're just overly complicated skill systems, or overly complicated systems in general, to be honest.
Yeah, there's always like way too many, skill points you can put into things, and like even like the crafting system. That's probably one of my least favorite things. Like I love building stuff, but like in games, it's always like there's a billion things that you have to put together to make one simple thing, and it's always just overly complicated. Like you don't want to go out and grab 10 billion things to make one thing, and it's always too complicated.
See, I guess I can live with a little bit of that. It is bad, I'll admit that readily, but my biggest thing then is that just the skills are just worthless. Swimming skills, for example, absolutely bane of my existence.
Yeah, of course we're talking about anarchy in this situation.
Yes.
We play a lot of MMOs. Anarchy Online is one of them. WoW, Vindictus, recently Elder Scrolls Online. I know Kyle's been playing The Division a lot. Terra, Global Agenda, if you've ever heard of that one. Wildstar, just to name a few. We played a whole bunch,
There's a bunch of others too
on and
that we
off,
just
but
haven't really gotten deep enough into to consider ourselves to have the ability to know what we're talking about. But those are the main ones. And Anarchy Online at one point had a swimming skill. You could put points into it, and it made it swim. You swim faster. That's it. That's all it did.
yeah, it was not great. And like obviously as like a noob, you're like, well, I have to, if I fall in the water and I want to get out of here, it's going to take me 5 years to swim out of here. So, and then you upgraded it because you wanted to get out of the water. It's like a noob trap.
Kind of leads me to my second point. Give us the ability to respec our skills. And if you don't know what respecing means, respecing is the ability to take any stat bonuses or skill buffs or abilities you've purchased, so to speak, with in-game currency or leveling or experience, whatever, and then decide to just completely get rid of them, get all of your resources back, and put them towards different points. I do understand the appeal of having to carefully think about which abilities you want. I'm okay with having ability trees to an extent where maybe you have one version of the ability or another, but the fact that some games lock you into certain abilities is annoying as all get out. Just
Right,
sorry.
especially when yet again the noob trap sort of thing where you're a noob and you don't know what skills you want yet because you don't know how good they are, and you pick one and you're locked into that for forever, or you have to spend money to unlock it. It should be something simple where you go into town and just hit respec in it.
Or even if I
That's
can
that.
jump onto a non-MMO, there's Diablo, which literally just lets you respec all of your skills at any point, because most of the stat bonuses are item driven, and your skills themselves, you can just decide to switch them as long as you're not in combat. Which is a
Right, of
great
course.
segue to the other thing just despise. And this is mostly Elder Scrolls Online right now, but there have been other instances. If old school MMOs are not real-time combat, you have time to cast abilities, there's things built in, like timers built in, but more MMOs nowadays, now that computers and just hardware in general is getting better, are going the direction of real-time combat, where you can dodge, duck, dive, dodge, using abilities all in real time. Except that games like Elder Scrolls, for example, decided to put a hotbar-based skill system into a real-time combat game. You're clicking to swing your sword every single time, but you have to still manage your hotbar, which is, in my opinion, impossible after 3 skills. And I have an MMO mouse.
Yeah, very confusing. WildStar did the same thing. And yeah, in Elder Scrolls, it was and you even the amount of skills you get right off the bat. You can get put a point into skills you can have already have 5 to 7 skills, and it's already I'm only level 6, right? And And that's not even as the number of like hot keys it gives you. So,
But we're not.
yeah,
We don't want to just like crap all over these systems. We do want to try and have a legitimate discussion here. So we have a couple of thoughts on maybe how these can be fixed. Mainly with the starting thing is just. I mean, the name of the game here is simplification. Just simplify your game design. It's not a bad thing.
yeah.
For example, an Anarchy actually learned that.
Yes, they did get rid of their, all their worthless skills, swimming, adventuring, all those weird ones that didn't really, play into anything. And I mean, there's still a lot of like problems. Going to like the crafting system. I know we brought up Diablo before, which also isn't an MMO, but they do have really good RPG elements, like having a simplified crafting system where you have, 3 to 4 crafting materials where that makes up everything, and it doesn't make everything just overly complicated.
Which, on the flip side, a game like Division, which I've been playing a lot recently, and I really enjoy, but their crafting system to me is a convoluted mess because there's, I believe, 5 different materials that you can have at any time, and there are 4 different levels, and you can upgrade some materials into other materials, and then there's another material called Division Tech, which can be turned into any other material, but you have to unlock a special talent to be able to do that. Just, why is your system so convoluted? Just give me a basic crafting system.
It doesn't make a lot of sense. I think like it's really mostly simple as like simplifying things, like having to simplify your menus, your skills, like make these less of. It's like the problem is you don't want to get rid of the player's options, right? So the best way to do this, I think, is you simplify it, you make things more interesting. Again, Diablo, they have legendary affixes, even like Borderlands and other games like this have this. I think Division has it too, correct?
To an extent, yeah. There's affixes, there's set items, stuff like that. Those are good. Those are good. Set items,
right.
Like special things that make items more interesting to a specific type of character because they buff your skills in some way, are really good game design, in my opinion.
Yeah, because it's making it more interesting, not necessarily completely better. Like a lot of times, like just in games, like you'll get percent damage, like in League of Legends, or percent health damage, and
oh my god, don't
you're
get me
buffing
started.
Up damage.
That's a whole nother conversation.
And it's bringing up new mechanics, which is fun, but it's also just like adding a new type of damage and making other things irrelevant. Like and going back to Diablo, they have like always people choose the more damage over other things. So in that respect, it's kind of a bad game design where you should have more interesting things rather than a lot of things that just increase damage.
Yeah, building in variety is not the same thing as complexity. Complexity is generally inherently bad to a game. The more complex a game gets, the harder it is for players to get into the game, and the less likely they are to actually play the game or see the game through to any kind of end game material. But variety is good. Variety doesn't mean that a game is complex. Variety just means there are different ways of playing the game. Not that you're locked into this certain meta level of knowledge that you need to know for said game. Like Diablo, if you don't look up the end game builds, you're just wasting your time with most of the other builds. World of Warcraft, if you don't know the certain quest lines you need to do, you're just never going to accomplish anything.
Right, which actually brings me to the quest lines in general. Those are not necessarily in WoW has gotten a little bit better, but a lot of the other quests, it's just you get a web of quests, and it's very difficult to, decide where you have to go, and the markers are just generally unclear. Lots of that kind of stuff going on, and probably a good fix for that would just be make it more linear, which is obviously inherently like not what open world is about, but it at least makes it so you're not confused and like on top of a mountain trying to find your quest inside a cave underground.
True story.
True story.
Like actual true story from one of our experiences in WoW, and that was just terrible. We wasted over an hour trying to find this because we were doors stuck on a mountain, and that is just not something you want to have. I mean, these are our thoughts on why MMO design is messy and why there are so many bad MMOs out there and why we can spend an entire weekend just looking for a good MMO to play. But these are our opinions. If you guys have different opinions or you want to continue the discussion on any of our opinions, just leave a comment below. We'll read them. Other people will hopefully read them, and we can actually get something going on maybe what people actually want in these games. Or if you want us to go more in depth on anything, just let us know. Again, comments. This is how you talk with us. We're going to be doing more of these on different topics. This is just meant to have a place to discuss and learn things, I guess. But always keep creating, guys.
Yeah. See ya.
Peace out.